Hey y'all, welcome back to Transformation to Expansion. My name is LaJaw Bradley, and I'm so happy to be here with y'all today. Today is another takeaway episode, a really quick and easy way to catch up to the last three episodes in case you missed it. Okay, so these are the main takeaways of the last three episodes. Now, I have to admit, okay, it's not going to be able to replace listening to the whole entire episode. Okay, it's just not. It's just not. But I'm going to do my best to give you guys the highlights and really what I got out of the last three episodes so that y'all can continue to learn and really transform your life and really have your heaven here on earth. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Okay, I got my notes with me right here. Okay, and we're going to go through little takeaways of the last 3 weeks. So we're going to start with episode 61 with Monique Lurink, the Diamond Astrologer Extraordinaire. She is a really incredible astrologer. I was so privileged to have her on the show, and I was so thankful that she was able to become a guest or to be a guest on the show because she just has such a huge wealth of knowledge, not just like from her experience as an astrologer, but from the location she was, doing the show at, just talking about all of the kind of expansion that she's experienced through her life and the expansion that's possible for you too through learning about your astrology, or in this case, learning about your diamond astrology. So in this episode, we talk about what diamond astrology really is. And she talks about how with diamond astrology, it's a little different from regular astrology because it takes a deeper dive into who you truly are. And in my opinion, it really gives a more practical application of astrology. And what I mean by that is it kind of simplifies the depth of who you are. Whereas I feel like astrology, when you get your chart read, they look at all the aspects and they look at the different, the planet is in this sign and this house. And I just love the way that through her diamond astrology, she is able to really give y'all the true facts. This is what you came here with. This is what you're here to learn. And this is your purpose. And one of the things that she starts off with in the episode is that she starts off by saying, everybody who's listening, everybody who is on this earth is special. Everybody who is everybody who feels like they're like missing their purpose or they know their purpose, it doesn't really matter, right? Everybody has a specific reason why they're here on earth, okay, on Gaia. Everybody has their purpose that they're here to fulfill. And she explains how, everybody experiences this kind of mode of survival. This is one of the biggest takeaways that I got from this episode. Everybody has this mode of survival that they experience, okay? And it usually happens, from the I don't want to say from the time you're born, but ages 4, maybe, earlier for some of us, to 7. I feel like it kind of starts there. And then it keeps on going until you're about 40. So you're in survival mode, right? You're learning how to adapt. You're learning how to, use the gifts that you came here with, but in a way that's going to help you survive, right? And so she talks about this in the episode. And just for an example, for those of y'all who are like, oh my God, like, what are you talking about? So the example she gave was, she looked at my chart and she said, I came here with the knowledge of psychology. I know psychology. And I thought this was so funny because I was like, yeah, I do. Like, even as a little kid, I didn't really know how to work with that gift in a way that people enjoyed, right? So even as a little kid, I could see, how certain people's behaviors were leading them to experience the same things over and over and over again. And I would always be like, oh, maybe you did this, or maybe you shouldn't do that. You know what happened last time. You shouldn't do that. This is me at 7 years old, and of course, right, the society that we live in. Nobody, people, I think nowadays they pay for therapists, which is fine. So people are more aware about psychology and the importance of it a little bit more. But when I was 7 years old, nobody was talking about it. Therapists, that wasn't even a thing, right? And then let alone a 7-year-old telling you, maybe you shouldn't do that again. Nobody really likes that. Nobody really likes being told to do that. Nobody really likes being told their faults, right? They like figuring it out for themselves. So anyway, so when I was about 7, after a couple of times where I would get some odd looks from people, or somebody would snap back at me or be like, I don't like you, I don't want to be around, I think after that, I realized, okay, maybe I need to like not express this. Maybe I need to not try to help people, because obviously some people don't like that. And I think part of that too is, and I don't want to say that everybody who I talked to didn't like them. I'm sure there were some people who, when I brought things to light, they appreciated it. But when I was little, I definitely had the mindset where I would focus on the more negative occurrences, right? Because this is a learned behavior that I learned from somebody else when I was younger. We ain't gonna get into it, but my point is, Monique was talking about how, because we're in survival mode, we tend to, try to express these parts, these gifts that we came here with. And then, society is like, you're not allowed to have that gift. And then we kind of, step back a little bit. And this isn't really what she said, but my interpretation of what she explained about this, 40-year process of survival mode, I really think it's an experience of expressing your gift. And maybe for some of y'all watching too, I want to say this too real quick. Maybe for some of y'all watching, you did express your gift and it was appreciated. That is definitely out there, right? But I just wanted to, let everybody know, I guess, from my experience, and maybe some people listening, maybe it wasn't, but I'm sure there's people out there who expressed their gifts and they were celebrated for it. But anyway, so part of this is, we have to experience being in survival mode. We don't have to experience it, but we do experience it. And I think that first 40 years of our lives are really about, experiencing the survival mode, sharing our gifts, some of us being encouraged to share our gift. And then for those of us who aren't, recoiling back. But then throughout those 40 years, it's a process of kind of hiding your gift and then letting it free again. I think that's, that's my interpretation of that session. Okay. Of that podcast episode. Okay. I know today's guest has you filled with questions, but don't worry. You're going to have a chance to sit in this seat on August 15th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have our first live Q&A where you get to ask the questions to a previous guest. Make sure to click on the notification bell, subscribe to the YouTube channel so y'all can be the first to know, because it's going to be first come, first serve. Okay? I'll see y'all there. Peace. The second thing I took away from that episode was the importance and ease of knowing your purpose, especially with diamond astrology. Now, I know some of y'all watching, you're like, maybe you're like me a couple years ago. I did the astrology chart reading. I signed up for that one course. I did my, the human design, and I still don't understand what my purpose is. I got you. Monique will help you with that, okay? Monique will definitely help you with that, because again, I love how she has a simple way of doing this, right? I think at least from my experience, when I looked at my human design and stuff like that, it still seemed to be a little bit too general for me. But I know that working with Monique, you can actually have a very specific outcome in terms of your purpose, okay? And you could really come out from a meeting with her knowing your purpose and living in your purpose, because this is one of the hacks of letting go of that old survival mentality, or those old survival habits, is knowing your purpose. And it's so funny that she said this, because she doesn't know. I don't think she knows any of the guests I've had on the show so far. But I just love how I keep on hearing this again and again and again with everybody. Not everybody, but like certain guests on the show. Solera talks about this. I think Lloyd talks about this also. And the whole concept that once you tap into your purpose, all of the healing, the trauma, all of that stuff just starts to I don't want to say rip away, but it kind of floats away. Like, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because you tapped into your purpose. This is why it's so important for you to know your purpose, because there's so many people out here, probably some of y'all watching, being like, I'm tired of this healing journey. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of being sad. I went to the retreat. I did all of these courses and I'm still not happy. It's probably because you haven't tapped into your purpose and you're not living in your purpose. You need to absolutely live in your purpose. It is so important. Okay. It's so important. And it's going to really empower you to live your best life, to live in your heaven on earth. Okay. Trust me. Trust me. Okay. This is the way to go. And it's the way to go because it's easiest and it's free. And you also get paid to do it. So what we doing? What we doing? Okay. And the last takeaway that I got a bunch of takeaways from this episode, but the last takeaway that I want to talk about is her future vision for human beings, which I absolutely love. So she talks about how her future vision for human beings is really, living in oneness, living in love, living in a deeper connection, not just with the earth and nature and the plants, but also with technology, and not in a cyborg way. That's how I'm going to put it, because we all know they're trying to turn us into cyborgs, and that's just not happening. But anyway, that's a topic for another conversation. But she talks about living in oneness with AI. So she talks about how people are antagonizing AI and being like it's the worst thing ever. Some of the people out there. And she emphasizes that no, it's actually here to help us, and we're supposed to be living in balance with AI. And so she kind of touches on that a little bit. And she even talks about her personal expansion, which I actually love, absolutely love her answer to this. So if y'all interested in that, check out that episode. It's episode 61, okay, with Monique Luring. The next episode we're going to go over is 62 with Olivia Atlee, who is a holistic doula. And I absolutely love this episode because we tackle a lot of the questions that I know a lot of y'all have, or a lot of women have, about getting pregnant, about our uterine health, about our moon cycle, okay, about the pregnancy journey, and we even talk about childbirth. So we talk about a lot in this episode. I'm just so thankful for Olivia for taking the time to make it an extra long podcast episode. I'm really thankful for that because it was just full of a wealth of knowledge, and I love her perspective on it, because I have to say, I think for me, I'm very, how do I want to put this? I'm very earthy when it comes to pregnancy, childbirth, uterine health. And this is because I've traveled around the world. I've seen different cultures, and I've seen the different ways that other people outside of the United States and different cultures outside of the United States perceive childbirth, perceive pregnancy. And it's a very, very, very different way than how we've been programmed to perceive it here in the States. So, but I just love her being on the show because I feel like she's a little bit more balanced than I am on the topic. So I was very thankful to have her on there and talk about holistic wellness, being a holistic doula. And so one of the biggest takeaways that I got from her that we kind of talked about was, well, first of all, if you're interested in being pregnant, getting pregnant, and you are in your 30s, late 30s, 40s, or even early 50s, I say talk to her, because she has a really great way of viewing how to get pregnant. Okay, this was one of the things that we kind of talked about too on the episode. In my opinion, you can get pregnant 30, 40, 50, okay, as long as you haven't, you're not post-menopausal, I guess. And actually, she informs me too that as long as you are, how do I want to put this, I think if you even if you are in menopause, you can still get pregnant, apparently. Don't quote me on that, y'all. Look back at the episode. But my point is, from my experience, I've met women in their 50s who have 4 or 5-year-old kids, and it's normal. It's not even, it's a normal thing to them. So, I come from a very different perspective, but I really wanted to have this episode and talk about these topics for y'all who are in the States, who are, haven't necessarily traveled or haven't really branched out, or maybe if you did travel, you didn't necessarily meet the types of people that I was meeting when I was traveling. Anyway, my point is, I wanted to really have an episode to really talk about a lot of the, I don't want to talk about, but combat a lot of the negative talks about getting pregnant when you're older, or even pregnancy itself. And we kind of go into this even in episode 63, which we'll talk about soon. Okay. So one of the biggest takeaways from her was that, it is possible. She had her kid actually when she was 44. And it was crazy because 4 months before she was pregnant with her second child, she actually had fibroids. And the doctor was like, well, you can get surgery and then, you won't have any more kids. And she just didn't know how she felt about that. So she was like, you know what? I'm a holistic doula. I'm gonna figure out how to do this holistically. And she actually healed her fibroids in 3 months, y'all. 3 months. No surgery, no medication, 3 months. And so she talks about how she did that in the episode. But it just blew me away. So if y'all are listening and you know somebody who might have fibroids or who has fibroids, please give them this episode and be like, hey, they talk about healing fibroids like naturally, holistically, and how to really change that reality and shift that reality. Because I'm just tired. I'm tired of my friends who are older than me saying like, oh, I don't know if I can get pregnant. Like, no, you can get pregnant. You just need to prepare your body, right? That's one of the biggest things we talk about too, is that you need to, how can you take care of a living being if your body can't even take care of itself, right? If you're having health problems, obviously your body is not going to be ready to carry a child. So you absolutely, absolutely need to take care of your body, okay? Take care of the health of your body. So we talk about that. We talk about your moon cycle, women's moon cycle, and the ways to reduce cramping when that happens, because this is something that I am like literally have been doing a self-study on for so many years now. And so she talks about, using, I think, raspberry leaf. I talk about my experience using soursop to really help with the cramps. Oh my God, soursop is an amazing plant and such an amazing fruit too. But for me, it was so good for my cramps. But anyway, we can get into it. But I'm just saying those were kind of the two. That's my opinion of what you should use for cramping. And then her thing was raspberry leaf. She said raspberry leaf is really, really good for the uterus. So no matter if you're pregnant, all of that is really good for the uterus. So the other thing that we talk about is, so we talk about the uterine lining, not the uterine lining, but we talk about how to get pregnant. We talk about uterine health. And then we also start to talk about pregnancy. Okay. So we talk about all 3 of the trimesters. And the first trimester, she talks about, what to expect, what can happen, and emphasis on the word can, because again, there's a lot of negative narratives fed to us when we are learning about pregnancy and being pregnant. And so she talks about some of the stuff that can possibly happen or cannot happen. She talks about her experience with her first child too, and then with her second child, and how different the experiences were. And she doesn't talk about this specifically, but I'm assuming it's due to some of the health changes that she made in her life. So for example, with her first pregnancy, she talks about how, she was throwing up for the first trimester every day at 5 o'clock, like clockwork. And with this second pregnancy, she was like, she never threw up as much. And I'm assuming it's due to her bodily health, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. So don't quote me on that. So then we talk about the second trimester. Of course, it's like this blissful period where it's just like you're glowing, everything's beautiful and happy, and you're just like in love, right? And then we talk about the third trimester, and how that is, how your body is changing, how I think she says your pelvis is literally shifting. And I think she said lightning crotch was the thing. I don't know. But anyway, so she says that's where the term comes from, because your pelvis is literally shifting to prepare to, birth your baby. And then we also talk about the big show. That's what I call it, the big show, birthing, like how it's supposed to be, how it can be, how now people need to understand that there are more natural birthing not centers, but spaces within hospitals. I don't think it's everywhere in the United States, but it's becoming more and more common. So, and we also talk about prenatal vitamins, what to take, what not to take. We talk about a lot of things in this episode, so definitely check it out if you are pregnant or expecting or are planning to be pregnant, or just want to know more about your uterus. Like, check out this episode because you will learn so much. Because one of the reasons why I had her on the show too was, I kind of realized they don't teach us this. They don't teach us all of this stuff in detail in school, in public school. Like, and I guess, sure, why not? Because, they don't want to promote, younger women getting pregnant. But, if school's supposed to prepare you for life, then what are we doing? And so I had to have her on the show for this because I really wanted y'all to have the opportunity to educate yourselves a little bit more about your body and those changes that might occur during pregnancy, and just really some one-on-one basic info on being a woman. Okay, so so that's that for episode 62 with Olivia. And of course, last but certainly not least, episode 63 with Michelle on conscious parenting. Get started on your wellness journey today. Whether you are starting your wellness journey, in the middle of it, or finishing it, this library will help you so much on how to jumpstart your wellness. And really, it has so much more than that. It has full guides on how to quantum leap, full guides on how to manifest, and even my personal favorite, coloring books. Yes, and I'm talking unique coloring books. Y'all already know what we're dealing with, okay? We have baobab coloring books, cactus plant coloring books, and so much more. And it's completely free. So please make sure to check it out, especially if you're on your wellness journey, or if you know a friend who is on the wellness journey and wants some free resources, please let them know about the wellness library, okay? The link is in the show notes below. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show. So I absolutely had to have Michelle on, not just, as a follow-up from Olivia, but also in a previous episode when I talked to Dr. Faye Hargrove. We kind of touched on conscious parenting a little bit, and I wanted to kind of expand more on that. So I invited Michelle onto the show, and it was amazing. Episode 2, we tap a little bit back into, unexpected pregnancy, becoming a mother suddenly, what that means, the narratives that we're fed, and some words of love for those of y'all who really need to hear some words of love, okay? Because again, when a woman gets pregnant, especially if it's unexpected, everybody's just telling you, you should do this, you should do this. And so I really wanted to just create a space so that for those of y'all who are listening and who might have an unexpected pregnancy, just some words of encouragement and some words of positivity and empowerment. Because there's so much negative, I don't want to say negative programming around pregnancy. I don't know why. Well, okay, I know why. We ain't gonna get into it though. We ain't gonna get into it. But I wanted to really take a moment to recognize that, being a parent is something so beautiful. It is something divine, and it is something that will change your life for a better. I think one of the quotes she said in this was that, when, if you decide to have a kid, when you have a kid, you learn 2 really important things. 1, you learn how to stop people pleasing. And 2, you learn how to prioritize yourself. And you also, and I guess 3, which is my 3, it's not hers, no. I'm adding 3 to this. You also have the opportunity to be a kid again. This is one of the most powerful gifts that we receive when we have kids, is that you learn how to be a kid again, which can really empower you to tap and heal that inner child too. So we talked about that. We talked about how parenthood could be a powerful step of self-acceptance and healing that you might actually need. So just keep that in mind. I really want to just emphasize that. Obviously, this is my opinion. She even states on there, this is her opinion, when she talks. So Keep that in mind, but just know that there are positive aspects to becoming a parent. It's a beautiful process and it's a beautiful experience. So we also talk about how when you are parenting, right? So we talk about conscious parenting. She talks about how at the core of conscious parenting is taking care of you, the parent, taking care of you, the parent, so that your emotions are stable. When parents have stable emotions, they are able to truly help out their children. Okay, so an example is, if your kid throws a tantrum at the store, if you're not level headed, but if you're emotionally balanced, you'll see the tantrum, but you won't get embarrassed. You won't feel the need to yell because you're not embarrassed anymore. You're not upset. You're actually just observing your child be expressing their emotions and processing the emotions the way that they know how, right? Because that's one of the basic ways of communicating. When a baby is born, it cries when it needs something. We're not going to get mad at the baby because it's crying, right? We have to figure out what the baby needs because it's trying to communicate, because it doesn't know English, doesn't know how else to communicate with us. But if we're in a stressful environment, or if we feel stressed, or our emotions are out of balance, it's going to be a lot harder to tend to our kids' needs, so just keep that in mind. But that's one of the basic foundations for conscious parenting, was making sure that your emotions are balanced. And if they're not balanced, seek the support that you need, prioritize the support that you need to make sure that your emotions are balanced. She talks about the importance of releasing tension throughout your day. You can do this through yoga, through meditation. And so making sure that you release the tension throughout the day, so that when you come back home and your child's at home and something happens, you're not snapping, right? It's not going to be a point where you're...
This farm isn't just any farm. It grows for Juice Plus. Juice Plus is farm-to-capsule nutrition made from 30 different non-GMO fruits, vegetables, and berries. Harvested at peak goodness to make nutrient-rich plant powders in convenient capsules. Clinically proven for over 20 years to support your wellness. It makes it easy to help bridge the gap between what you should eat and do eat. Fruits and vegetables are always on the table with Juice Plus. Juice Plus. Goodness is our natural state.
You're done with the day because it's too much. You wanted to come home to peace. But if you have a routine, if you have points throughout your day where you're releasing tension, it'll help you come home and be more, again, emotionally stable, so that you can support the needs of your kid, and also so your kid can observe what it looks like to be emotionally stable. That's the other big thing, right? We are our kids' first teachers. So you need to also, understand that concept. It's very important to have your emotions more stable so that your kids can also practice that and learn that habit, okay? Now, I know some of y'all watching be like, okay, well, my kid is already, 12 years old, 18 years old. Where do I go from here? And so we actually talk about, conscious parenting with teens. And she talks about how, again, you need to make sure your emotions are stable first. Make sure that you're prioritizing you, okay? And then your kids are going to kind of passively learn what it looks like to be emotionally stable and start practicing that. But if they're still, acting out, you just have to give them the attention and the affection, and tap into, I would say, your inner mother too. This is coming from me, not her, but tap into your inner mother. What I mean by that is give them space, give them unconditional love, give them words of encouragement if they need it. And one of the things that she was saying in the episode was to actually just do more things that they love. Obviously, first of all, make sure you do stuff that you love. Make sure you prioritize you. But when you're ready, once you have your emotions in balance, then you can go to your child and be like, hey, what do you need? I'm here for you. I have space. I have the next 2 hours. And if we need more time, you let me know and we can make more time. really coming to that space of being able to be there for them is really important, and doing things that they love too, right? Obviously, you know, I think every parent, I feel like this is more of like a dad thing, but some parents, not, I guess it could be a woman thing too, a mom thing too. Some parents, they want their kids to realize their dreams. And so, maybe your daughter doesn't like getting her nails done, but you're like, you know what, but mommy likes getting her nails done and we need to spend quality time together. So why don't you come with mommy? We can both get our nails done. But your kid doesn't like that, right? So you need to like kind of pause and be like, okay, I'm going to get my nails done by myself. But now whatever you want to do, we can do. So maybe your daughter doesn't like to get her nails done, but she likes to get like facials or massages, and you go get a massage with her. But you guys get what I'm saying? Like, you got to start doing stuff that they like. And yeah, there's a balance to it, but that was one of the things that also stood out to me, was that she's like, no, just do more of what they like. They will, you'll be able to connect with them. You'll be able to have a deeper bond with them. So that was basically what we talked about in that episode. And so that's going to conclude today's takeaway for the last 3 episodes. Okay. I love y'all so much. Please make sure to leave a review and make sure to be the parent to the inner child in you. Okay. I love y'all so much.